Good, right? Good morning, members of parliament, support staff, those in the public tribune, radio listeners, TV viewers, those following via social media, and members of the media. Welcome to this public meeting number 7, that is question hour of today, Monday, December 4, 2023. I would like to give a special welcome to the Honorable Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports, Dr. Rudolph Samuel, and his support staff. We have established a quorum of 8 members. Please stand for a moment of silence. Thank you. I have received notice of absence from the following members: MP Sarah Westcott Williams, MP William Marlin, MP Christopher Emmanuel, and notice of lateness from MP Rayon Peterson. Are there any notifications? I see MP Bryson. MP Bryson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to you, to my colleague, members of Parliament, the Secretary General, the Minister present, and the viewing public. Mr. Chairman, I would like to take a moment to express sincere condolences to the late young Cassandra Martin, who passed away in an accident last week. This is a young person from French St. Martin, but known very well on both sides of the island. Her family, her friends, but also her extended family, so to speak, from Lotus. I know Manny, Celine, Fred, and the rest of them are all hurting very much for her loss. She was a vibrant person, great energy, always smiling, and I know all of us are going to miss that smile. My sincere condolences to everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, MP Bryson. I see MP Hyacinth Richardson. MP Richardson, you have the floor.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to my colleagues. Good morning to the person in the Tribune. Good morning to the Minister and his staff. Good morning to the good people of St. Martin. Mr. Chairman, I too would like to extend my deepest sympathy to the lady, her family, for the loss. I don't think I know her, but I extend my deepest sympathy. Mr. Chairman, last week Thursday, I received a WhatsApp stating from Ms. Romou from the St. Peter's area, stating to the police officer downstairs that she came here to find out about my little baby. I would like to tell Ms. Romou, who I know very well, I like her, but I didn't like this at all because this can destroy a family. However, for those who don't know, my wife is a preacher in the Methodist Church, and I respect her much, and I love her much. Mr. Chairman, but this kind of issue where a lady gonna take her time, come to Parliament to find out if I have a little baby. She came here to find out and ask me to question me about a baby. That's what she said to the officer downstairs. Mr. Chairman, I have no little baby. And I want to urge politicians who's doing this to please stop it. I have no little baby. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, MP Richardson. Thank you for your notifications. We have as agenda point for this public meeting, question hour. Questions from MP Angelique Romou, directed to the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports regarding the special needs policy under document IS/236/2023-24, dated November 27, 2023. We go over to the agenda point. The intention of the question hour is to create the possibility to interact with ministers. During the question hour, only questions and answers will be given on the topic at hand. As we have had many question hours, I will shortly elucidate on the procedure for the question hour. The Member of Parliament will get the opportunity to read his or her questions as submitted for a maximum of 2 minutes under Article 69D, paragraph 3 of the Rules of Order. The Minister is given the opportunity to answer the questions for a maximum of 1 minute per question under Article 69D, paragraph 3 of Rules of Order. The Member of Parliament is then given the opportunity once more to ask additional questions for a maximum of 2 minutes under Article 69D, paragraph 4 of the Rules of Order. The Minister is given 1 minute to answer each question under Article 69D, paragraph 4 of the Rules of Order. The President then may allow other members of the Parliament to ask questions for a maximum of 1 minute about the same topic under Article 69D, paragraph 5 of the Rules of Order. The Minister is given 1 minute to answer each question under Article 69D, paragraph 5 of the Rules of Order. During the question hour, no permission can be asked to hold an interpellation, nor can motions be submitted. Today, Monday, December 4, 2023, we have questions that were submitted by MP A.J.G Romou under IS/236/2023-24, dated 27 November 2023, for the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports. These questions were submitted in accordance with the Article 69 of the Rules of Order. The Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sport was invited by letter under UV/058/2023-24. Hence, in accordance with the Article 69D, paragraph 3, Member of Parliament A.J.G Romou will read her questions to the Minister. MP Romou, you have the floor.
Good morning to you, Mr. Chairman. A special good morning to my colleague MPs. A special welcome to our Honorable Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports, and of course to the viewing and listening audience this morning. Mr. Chairman, the last update that sits fresh in my mind dates back to the 10th of May 2021, when we had initially started with the questions pertaining to special needs. And in developing and refining the special needs policy, which is a very vital policy, I have since questioned the finalization on this numerous times, as this initiative and its potential impacts the lives of numerous citizens, and it is extremely important. Hence my request for this question hour, as it is imperative that Parliament receives a thorough update on its current status. The special needs policy holds significant importance in ensuring inclusivity and equal opportunities for all members of our community, especially those with diverse learning needs. This policy should address the unique challenges faced by individuals with special needs within the education, culture, youth, and sports sectors by fostering an environment that accommodates and supports these individuals, that contribute, so that we can contribute to a society that values diversity and promotes the well-being of every citizen. The questions that I forwarded to the Minister are: what progress has been made in the development of the special needs policy since the last update provided to Parliament? Are there any challenges or obstacles that the ministry has encountered in the process, and how are these being addressed? What consultations or collaborations have taken place with stakeholders, including educators, parents, and advocacy groups, to ensure the policy's effectiveness and inclusivity? And the final question: when can we expect the finalized version of the special needs policy to be presented to Parliament for its approval? I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And I'll give the floor to the Minister to answer the questions in accordance with the Article 69D, paragraph 3 of the Rules of Order. Minister Samuel, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to you, and good morning to our Griffier. Good morning to the members of Parliament, to those sitting in the tribune, blessed day to you, and to those listening to us in whichever way, via radio or any other medium. Good morning and blessed week to St. Martin. Mr. Chairman, I would like to introduce the person sitting next to me is our newly to be appointed Senior Policy Officer at the Department of Education, Ms. Erin Ellis. I would like to thank her and the extended ECYS family for their support, not only for this session, but also throughout my tenure. And I am very grateful for the support that they have given me. Mr. Chairman, I will proceed to answer the questions of this question hour and then give my intro into the topic. The first question, and from the Member of Parliament, what progress has been made in the development of the special needs policy since the last update provided in Parliament? Since the last update provided in Parliament, the special needs policy has been finalized and is currently undergoing the process of decision-making. The second question, are there any challenges or obstacles that the ministry has encountered in the process, and how are these being addressed? The main challenge faced by the ministry during the development of the special needs education policy is understaffing, which was addressed through the hiring of several consultants to support the process. The third question, what consultations or collaborations have taken place with stakeholders, including educators, parents, and advocacy groups, to ensure the policy's effectiveness and inclusivity? Mr. Chairman, the special needs education policy is the result of broad stakeholder consultations and several assignments executed by independent consultants. Contributors to the final product include the staff of the Department of Education and the other departments and division of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports. Furthermore, the Department of Education collaborated closely with the Student Support Services, SSSD, during the drafting of the special needs education policy. Additionally, stakeholder consultations were held with school boards. In addition to the previously mentioned stakeholders, feedback on the working draft of the policy was received from representatives of the National Recovery Bureau, NRPB, Prince William Alexander School, PWAS, Enable NV, the former Excellent Learning Academy, St. Martin Vocational Training School, SMVTS, 721 Kids Foundation, and the Windward Islands Teachers Union, Y2. During the drafting of the situational analysis, which was conducted to inform the policy, the White and Yellow Cross Care Foundation and All Children Education, ACE Foundation, were also consulted. Additionally, a survey was disseminated to the public via the government Facebook page and the subsidized and public school boards. Question 4, when can we expect the finalized version of the special needs policy to be presented to Parliament for approval? The special needs education policy will be presented to the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports and the Council of Ministers for decision-making during the coming weeks. A roadmap for the implementation will be drafted in 2024, which will facilitate the implementation of the policy. I would like to inform Parliament that in 2013, based on the need for a special needs education policy, the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports at the time decided to establish a special needs education work group. The work group conducted a situational analysis, collaborated with the psychology department of the St. John's University in New York, hosted a special needs education conference in 2013, and conducted several brainstorming sessions with relevant stakeholders within the local education system. In 2015, the work group published a report on special education in St. Martin. As a result, the operational standards for special education in St. Martin were established and approved by the government to regulate special education on the island. Then, in 2021, the National Recovery Bureau, NRPB, solicited the support of a consultant to support the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports with identifying and assessing the infrastructure and programs offered in several schools for students with exceptionalities. The collaboration was a part of the Foster Resilience Learning Project and product the design criteria for special needs and inclusive schools, needs assessment of the special needs / inclusive education in St. Martin primary schools, and the final report of inclusive special needs education. In 2022, the Department of Education, in collaboration with the Student Support Services Division, SSSD, executed a situational analysis which aimed to identify the existing needs of children with exceptionalities, provide an overview of the provision of special needs and inclusive education services on the level of primary and secondary education, and recommended actions for future service provisions, and confirmed the data presented in the report drafted by NRPB. The special needs education
Minister,
policy, just wrapping up.
You're
Yeah,
already
last-
over by a minute.
Just wrapping up. The special needs education policy is a cumulative product of all the work related to special needs education that was conducted during the years prior to its establishment. The goal of the policy is to provide guidelines to regulate the provision of special education in St. Martin, including the programs, curriculum, and training of the teachers employed to provide the type and quality of special education that the children of St. Martin deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Samuel. MP Romou now has the opportunity once more to ask additional questions for a maximum of 2 minutes under Article 69D, Paragraph 4 of the Rules of Order. MP Romou, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will delve right into the questions and also explain why this meeting was called is because, as we all know, Excellent Learning Academy closed down and 721 Foundation took over some of the students from this academy because they cannot house all of the students. So right now we're faced with an urgent situation where we have students who cannot attend school because there's no place for them. So my question is, how is the minister looking into dealing with the short-term situation of housing over these 52 students that are currently at this establishment, and how are you, Minister, through you, Mr. Chairman, dealing with this situation? What is the financial implications for the country's annual budget based on what you have indicated in your presentation earlier? Do we anticipate having to increase the budget to effectively accommodate our special needs students? If yes, where and which departments or divisions budget posts do you foresee the budget will be needed in? And can we already expect to see these implications in the 2024 budget? Can we anticipate an increase in subsidies for the subsidized schools in order to fully comply with the implementations of this policy? My final question, according to the requirements stipulated for the special needs teachers, how many teachers do we currently have that would need to meet these requirements? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, MP Angelique Romou. The Minister, you have 1 minute to answer each question. Total.
Thank you.
Total 5 questions, so you have 5 minutes. Minister,
One,
you
two,
have the floor.
three. I have 4 questions, Mr. Chairman. The number of teachers was the last one. You have 5 questions? I have 4 questions, okay. Mr. Chairman, in regards to the former Excellent Academy students and now the 721 students, I can inform Parliament and the people of St. Martin that after meeting with the parents of the former, well, let me say the parents of the 721 students, an assessment was done at the time by SSSD to assess the students and their situation. I personally visited 721 location to see the situation myself, and after discussion with the ministry, with persons in the ministry, we have decided to pay for the psychological assessment for those students that did not have it. So I approve the payments, and a psychologist was located, assessed, was gained in order to do that intake. 10 persons were recommended for, I believe, for the psychological assessment. It is important to indicate at the time, because today I'm hearing 52 students, but at that time it was not 52 students, that some of the parents decided not to still put their students, their children in public education. Last week, the ministry received a request for subsidy from the 721 Foundation, which I believe is a very good thing, because back then too, when I spoke to the persons of Excellent Academy, I did indicate to them also to request subsidy. And so after the discussions, and this is an indication that I am aware of what's going on with those students. The request for subsidy came in last week, and I sent it to the department for handling. In regards to the budget, it is understandable that the budget for the implementation of the special needs education policy will find itself in the budget of 2024. I cannot at this moment say to the Parliament of St. Martin what is exactly the budget line, but for the implementation, that will happen in budget 2024. And in regards to subsidy for the subsidized school boards, I can inform Parliament that subsidy is in place for those school boards who have children with exceptionalities in their schools. And I can recall about 3 or 4 months ago, I approved money for one of the school boards because they have requested money or subsidy for that program. The number of teachers that are needed for the program, that number I do not have at the moment. What I can tell Parliament and the people of St. Martin, that under the professional development program that the ministry have instituted in order to assist teachers that were not up to date 100% in their qualifications for teaching, I have added the part of the certification for special needs, seeing that the special needs policy was on its way to being established, I know that teachers will have to be certified to be able to recognize the situation with children with exceptionalities. It is good to know that from the moment I came into Parliament, after most naturally the situation with COVID came down a bit, one of the topics, one of the items that I requested from the department was the situation with the special needs education policy. And as I have indicated to Parliament, I learned that in 2013, indeed, a work group was established, and together with the department and with the extended ECYS ministry, we have been able to work on the special needs education policy, something that is really, really dear to me, because a lot of times I met many parents with children who ask, what can I do to assist them with their children and making sure that they have rights to education? I thank you.
Thank you, Minister Samuel. I see, does any member of the Parliament have questions for the Minister regarding this topic? Maximum 1 minute about the same topic under Article 69D, Paragraph 5 of the Rules of Order. And I see MP Rolando Bryson has questions. MP Bryson, you have the...
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it is good to see some progress, let's say, on paper regarding a special needs policy, Mr. Chairman, but the question that I was most looking forward to was indeed the budget, because we have to be careful that we're not creating policies on paper that are not directly tied to being executed within our budget. The minister gave a vague answer on that. I would like to maybe ask it differently. Has the policy in and of itself also outlined the potential costs, and have discussions been had to ensure that the funding will be there to execute the policy? And secondly, the question on the minds of most families, most parents, and most teachers is when? When can we expect to see in this execution of this policy? When can these loving, exceptional children finally get the education and the care that they deserve? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, MP Bryson. Minister, you got 2 minutes, 2 questions. So you got 2 minutes. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I thank the Member of Parliament for the questions posed. In the implementation phase of the implementing of the policy, a roadmap will be established, which I indicated in my answering, and the roadmap will indicate that there will be a phased implementation of the policy. Right now, at the moment as we speak, I indicated that the professional development program have been, let's say, upgraded, or a new item has been inserted in it, and that is a certification of the teachers who need to be certified to be able to work with children with exceptionalities. And that is one of the ways that you would realize that the students or the persons with exceptionalities are benefiting immediately from this policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. And I see the next Member of Parliament is MP Ludmila D. Weaver. MP Ludmila, you have the floor.
Good morning, Chair. Thank you very much. Good morning, all. Thank you, Minister, for being here. Most of the conversation around special needs has been so general that it also neglected the fact that you have special needs that is not being catered to for kids under the age of 6. Last week, a mother of a 6-year-old came up to me and decided to move to the U.S. as an option to give that care, to that education to her child that was on the spectrum. Her child is autistic. And as a result, they end up going to private schools, which cost a lot of money. So my question to you, Minister, is, through Chair, is what is in place right now today for parents that have kids under the age of 6 to get the care and education that they were getting beforehand in excellence? This is specifically for kids under the age of 6. Thank you very much. Before I go, I wanted to make sure I point out the fact that when we're talking about discrimination in education, is something that I have been asked directly last week, and this deals with it, discrimination in education. And so in public education, the options here now is only private education, which is very expensive. What are we doing in public education to avoid discrimination in education for those kids on the spectrum with ADHD, Down syndrome, everyone that it comes under that category of special needs? Thank you very much.
Thank you, MP Ludmila de Weaver. Minister, how many questions? One? You got 2 questions, so 2 minutes to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the Member of Parliament, De Weaver, for the questions posed. At the moment, indeed, we do not have any, let us say, policy that covers children under 6, but this policy that we are finalizing will start at the age of 4. So we will be able to cater to students at a lower age. And what do we have presently? Presently, we do have the Prince William Alexander School that caters to children with special needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. The next person I have is MP Solange Duncan. MP Duncan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to everyone. I just have 2 questions for the Minister, actually 3. Through you, Mr. Chairman, to the Minister, we're talking about special needs education. Training for teachers are extremely important. However, when we look at the life of a special needs student, therapy is very, very much involved and heavily needed. Has the ministry or does this policy also address issues as it concerns therapy? So were therapists also consulted? So trying to understand how much the ministry is working with, whether it's the Ministry of VSA, but in specifically the therapists, the psychologists. You mentioned psychologists, but there are also behavioral therapists, physical therapists. So understanding how the policy addresses or at least works and connects to therapy outside of the school, that is 1. Next question through you, Mr. Chair, is about any physical improvements to the Prince William Alexander School, as well as the new school that is supposed to be established, because I am still, I believe that PWAS is, my time is up. PWAS is temporary, so understanding what is going to happen with the school. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, MP Solange Duncan. Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the Member of Parliament for the questions posed. In regards to, indeed, the various types of therapists that would be needed in the life of a person or a child with exceptionalities, we do begin with our SSSD, our Student Support Services Division, because this division is the division that is manned with the various specialists that can work with children with exceptionalities. Most naturally, if we do not have the specialist in-house, we would have to find the specialist or buy in that service. In regards to the physical changing of the locations, the policy will indicate how this is done. When the policy is implemented, then a lot of adjustments will take place. I thank you.
Thank you, Minister. The next person I have is MP George Pantaplet. MP George, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to the Chair, my colleagues in Parliament, Honourable Minister of Education, Youth and Sports, and of course his soon to be appointed Director, Mr. Ellis, and those who are viewing and listening. Mr. Chairman, just a question, or one or two, and I'm trying to be clear. Mr. Chairman, this special needs policy, when did it start? Did it start in 2010, 2015? Because, you know, what I'm hearing is if, you know, this thing is something that should have been done tomorrow, whatever. So my question is, Mr. Chairman, when did this discussion on the special needs policy started? And also, Mr. Chairman, I want to thank the ministers through you for definitely, and stability, of course, of government for bringing it thus far. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, MP George Pantaplet. Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in my deliberations, I indicated that in 2013, the country saw the need for special needs education, and at that time, a working group was established. And that work group brought out a report in 2015. Since then, until I came into office, right, there was, let's say, dormancy. And then I picked up the ball, not when I say, and I must say, together with the ministry, and I reported to you because we went into office in 2020, and in 2021, the National Recovery Bureau worked together with us. So in order for that to happen prior to 2021, right before, there were exchanges of working taking place. And from then to now we are completing the policy, and it's in its decision-making phase, meaning I have discussed the draft policy with the department. It went for consultation by the subsidized schools and also the union, the teachers' union. It came back, it was finalized, and it is making its way for final decision-making by myself and the Council of Ministers and not by Parliament. I thank you.
Thank you, Minister. The next person, MP Melissa Gums. MP Gums, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning to everyone. I'll go straight into the questions. I just have two. Was this policy, Minister, drafted in collaboration with the Ministry of VSA? And that ties into my second question because we see the struggle is actually assessments. There's also an issue getting young persons assessed. Even adults have a hard time getting assessed for whether they are on the autism spectrum, ADHD, et cetera. So I just want to know if the policy was drafted in collaboration with Ministry of VSA, and whether or not it was, what is the plan then from ECYS for assessments of students? Thank you.
Thank you, MP Gums. Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you to the Member of Parliament for the questions. When you have a policy of this nature, it is very difficult to say that no conversations were had absolutely with the Ministry of VSA. But this policy is strictly under the Ministry of ECYS, and so the work was done under the Ministry of ECYS. The Division of Student Support Services is the division where I indicated that we do have the specialists in-house, and indeed with conversations with the departments and the divisions, I do understand and I know that it is sometimes very difficult to get persons tested. And for that reason, I approved the payment to pay for the testing, the psychological testing of those children from the Farmer Excellent Academy. I thank you.
Thank you, Minister. The next person is who's the next one? MP Grisha Halliger Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I don't have a question, but what I do have is maybe a suggestion that might end up in a question. My son, as some of you may know, is also on the spectrum, and I have actually gone through a lot with him, putting him in different schools and not working out, having him assessed, and was fortunate to have him assessed abroad. And what I have been able to conclude, what I've been able to get done for him, is an online school. It's worked for my son, and it's worked for many other kids. It's called Acellus. Acellus, A-C-E-L-L-U-S, acellus.com. I've been fortunate and blessed enough to find certified teachers to assist him. My son is now registered as a stay-at-home student, but he goes to this academy, and they are able to assist him under Acellus. Acellus.com. I'm saying it because you parents out there, look at it, Acellus. It's $250 a month for 10 months for those of you that can or cannot afford. But it's also it's helpful to have someone sit with your child to do it 2-3 times, 2 hours, 3 hours a day. It works for him. But government can also support or maybe support parents with this. Have your kids become stay-at-home students like mine and do this class online. It's an accredited class from K to 12th grade. My son is now about to go into the 11th grade very soon, and he's happy. It's helping him. It's catered to him. And I think you have a few students already, Minister, through you, Mr. Chairman. You have a few kids already registered. I think you should immediately see how you can do a quick win for the country through acellus.com. That's just my statement. That's something I highly suggest to you as a quick win for the country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, MP Grisha Halligan-Martin. I believe MP Bryson. MP Bryson wanted a clarification on his question. His question wasn't answered. Can you repeat the question?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity. The question was actually related if the special needs policy was within it, if it was written with budgetary implications within it, because the Council of Ministers is about to approve something. Indeed, that's on government side, but eventually the Parliament is going to have a role in this. The government would have approved it, and then the Parliament is now going to have to approve a budget where on the policy side of the budget there is the special needs, but then we don't have any information about the budgetary consequences. So that's why I posed that question, and the minister must have missed it.
Minister, you have a suggestion from MP Grisha Halligan-Martin and a question from MP Bryson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, first let me thank MP Grisha Martin for the information provided. And I know that this information will help some parents out there. In working on this policy, I understand that we can have about 18 different types of children with exceptionalities on this island. It's a lot, and the number of persons is a big amount. I cannot give the number exactly, but I know. Then in regards to the question of Member of Parliament MP Bryson, what we have is the policy, and then we have the implementation of the policy. And in the implementation of the policy, indeed, we do have, and we are busy working out the costs related to the policy. And that is something that will be taken up in budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. The next person I see is MP Angelique Romou. MP Romou, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is not a question, but it's just a suggestion based on the information that we've received, and I realize they say hindsight is 20/20, that the topic will be one that needs to continue. I'm going to make a suggestion that I will submit a a request to continue in a central committee meeting so that all of the other questions and answers can be posed, as we are quite strapped for time right now. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, MP Romou. I see the next person, and might be the last one, it will be MP Richardson. MP Richardson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank the minister very much for taking the special needs children into consideration. It was since 2013 that you said this was the start of this, and nobody do nothing within a certain amount of years. Thank you very much for taking it up and looking at this same area and helping our kids with special needs. Mr. Chairman, I would ask you a question because history is good. I would like you to find out about the school in Belvedere. Who were the persons secure the funding for the special ed school in Belvedere? History will reveal that it might be your party. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Richardson. Minister, you have 1 minute. There was one question.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would like to indeed thank the Member of Parliament, MP Hyacinth Richardson, for indicating that he do understand that the working of this special needs education started in 2013, and that indeed it went dormant, and it was then taken back up when I came into office. The question regarding who the person or which ministry it was that established the funds for Prince William Alexander School, Dr. Alma Fleming campus, I will have to let you know. At this moment, I really don't know that answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. I would like to thank the Honorable Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sport, Dr. Rudolph Samuel, and his support staff for their participation here today. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this question hour. I thank you all for your participation, and I hereby close this question hour.